All right, so in the last video, we set up authentication using Pinia and Vue 3 and making a use auth store. But there's a few things we did just quick and dirty to make it work, and we want to adjust those to adhere to Pinia best practices. So this is just going to be a quick video fixing a few things. Let's jump into it. So when it comes to Pinia and you're defining a store and you're using the setup method, which means you're using a function here instead of passing in an object with state and actions, there's a few things you want to do to adhere to best practices. And this can all be summarized pretty easily by saying where we return our functionality here, we want to return essentially everything that we create. So any refs that we create are going to be state variables, and any functions we create are going to be actions. So what that's going to mean for this setup is we don't want to have computed variables that just pass back the value, and we don't want to have functions that modify the value unless they're being passed back in our return. So we're essentially going to get rid of all of this and update our functions as we need to. So let's just comment this out and look at where we need to make some changes. Login is fine. Register is fine. Log out we want to modify, and attempt we want to modify. So let's start with logout. This one's going to be pretty simple. We're basically just, instead of using set user, we're going to say user value equals empty object. And instead of set authenticated, we're going to say authenticated value equals false. And then we can get rid of those two setters. Now in attempt, we want to do basically the same thing. Instead of set user, we're going to say user.value equals response.data. And instead of set authenticated, we'll say authenticated.value equals true. And we'll do the same here. Now, instead of passing back current user and is authenticated, we're going to pass back the actual state, which is just going to be user and authenticated. Now we can get rid of this code up here. And we can get rid of computed from our imports. And let's save our auth. Now there's a few places we want to modify within our app to make sure this all works correctly. So let's start with our home view. Now in home view, we use auth.isAuthenticated. We're just going to use auth authenticated. And instead of current user.name, it's just going to be auth.user.name. And we can save that. And there we go. That's fixed. Now the bigger one that we have to fix is our header section. In our header section, we use is authenticated a few times. So we're just going to change all these to authenticated. One more place we want to modify is our index.js, our router file. And you're going to scroll down to the little piece of middleware, the navigation guard that we built. And here we just want to fix both of these to use the correct states. And we'll save. All right, there we go. So now that's just a little bit of best practice and a little bit of refactoring to make sure our code is structured a little bit better. Be sure to check back for the next video, which is going to include creating to-dos, modifying them, creating lists, and adding all of that functionality using our Laravel API and our Vue 3 SPA. And as always, happy coding.